Hi, I'm State Senator Joe Markley from Southington, outside the Senate chamber, where we have just adjourned sine die, which means we are done for the session, and with no need to come back for a special session, having passed everything that was on our agenda. I've done this before at the end of session, sometimes in total disgust and sometimes in partial concern. I guess tonight is more of a concern night. It was not the worst scene I've seen, but it was disturbing enough that I gave a warning tonight in reference to the implementer bill. You've heard me refer before to the implementer bill. Let me show it to you. Let me show it to you as happens before. I just saw it for the first time. It was handed to me. 320 some pages, 220 sections. Some of it is in fact to implement the budget and purely technical. Other sections of it are legislative changes. Some of them are familiar, some of them are unfamiliar. We received this at about 11:35 tonight, and we voted on it at about 11:38. And I said tonight, there were two very brief speeches. Senator Bai, the chairwoman of the Appropriations Committee, got up and moved this implementer. Senator Kane, the ranking member on appropriations, got up and briefly complained about the inclusion of non-budget related items. And then, I think somewhat to the surprise of the Lieutenant Governor, I got up and I said that I don't think this is any way for us to do business. And although I feel that we are all complicit in it, and although I am not willing at this moment to throw a wrench into the operations of government, I make no promise for next year, because there would be nothing easier for me to do than to start asking questions about what's contained within this massive bill and run the clock until midnight and kill the implementer bill. Now, we have to pass an implementer bill to implement the budget. There's a legitimate need for it, but it's chock full of new ideas, things that haven't had a public hearing, things that even the legislators themselves don't know about, that have been negotiated behind closed doors by the governor, by the Democratic leaders, and by the Republican leaders. We all have an interest in it. There's things in this bill that would make me happy, I believe, if I knew exactly what they were. I don't doubt it, but I would like to know what I'm voting on. Obviously, I voted no on it, but I allowed the vote to go forward. Next year, as I said, I make no such promise. And between this year and next year, I've had some useful conversations this session, about changes that could be made in our rules to try to improve the function of the legislature. And I will talk about that during the campaign this year, because I would like to build some public interest in the process up here and some public pressure for a better way of doing business in Hartford. And I would like to have an alternative set of rules available when we go into session in January, with people having a chance to look at them ahead of time. I don't know that I have any hopes of getting such a thing adopted, but I would like to start the conversation, because we are addicts to a certain kind of excitement up here in Hartford. I think we rather enjoy it, the kind of hustle and bustle that takes place in the last couple of hours before the end of session. But it is no good, it's no way to do business, it's no good for the state of Connecticut, and I'm going to do my best to stop it. I would say that this day was passed mostly in paying tribute to two retiring senators, Senator Williams, the president of the Senate, and Senator McKinney, the Republican minority leader. And I don't doubt the tributes that these men deserve for their service, but I think it's a curious method to spend something approaching 6 hours on that, and spend on the floor of the Senate really less than 2 minutes talking about this 300-plus page bill. I'll have more to say in the next week or two about the mechanics of this legislative process. But we are done for now. In a few minutes, I'll go down to the House chamber and hear a speech from the governor, and I don't expect to agree with what he has to say either. But I've enjoyed giving you these reports. I'll try to keep them up periodically during the summer, and we'll be back in session in January. Thank you for your attention.